What is up, Nerf Nation? I am Scraps from GriffinMods, and apparently the ZombieStrike line is no longer exclusive to Target because I just found this at my local Toys R Us. So clearly today I am bringing you our in-depth review of the new Nerf SideStrike from the ZombieStrike line. The layout of the box is pretty much the same as they've used for the other ZombieStrike blasters. It's very similar to the box from the Sledgefire, although you can see that the guy down here firing the SideStrike also has the new In-Force Zombie Sword, which is yet to be released. Up here it says it's a quick draw blaster with a holster, and it also says they have a new Nerf Zombie app from Nerf.com, and that it comes with 6 darts. On the back of the box, it says, Mission, when you need to react fast. Target zombies when you least expect them. Location, tight spots. Blueprint, SideStrike blaster. Style, ZombieStrike darts. And function, always handy holster, which is obviously the big feature of this blaster. Results, never be without a weapon. In typical ZombieStrike fashion, you have kind of a blueprint explaining how to operate the blaster, which is prime, pull the trigger, and fire. It's pretty self-explanatory. It says that it has built-in dart storage on the holster, which is a good feature. And the holster has a belt clip and storage for 4 darts. And then you can see in the fine print here that it says the holster also fits the FireStrike, which is a good feature. And because the bottom of the holster is open, it means it could also fit a FireStrike rifle, which could come in handy if you're so inclined to build one. Inside the box you get the SideStrike, the holster, 6 ZombieStrike darts, and the instructions. As far as the aesthetics of the blaster, it looks pretty sweet except for the paint scheme. I've never been a huge fan of the color choices for the ZombieStrike line. The grip is very comfortable. It's a little bit larger than the grip on the FireStrike, which makes it a little bit easier to hold. But other than that, the design is almost exactly the same, even in size, as the FireStrike is. So this blaster as a whole is pretty much exactly the same as a FireStrike, right down to the 2 extra dart storage on the front, except for the fact that the grip is a little bit larger and it operates on a slide instead of the pullback mechanism from the FireStrike. The drawback to it, however, is that it feels like it has a heavier spring in it, and without anything to really grab hold of on the front, it's definitely much harder and less convenient to prime than the FireStrike is. Again, the grip is very good. It's large, and for some reason it has this separate orange piece here on the back that looks like it should slide out, but it doesn't. I don't know why they made that a separate piece from the rest of the casing, other than the fact that maybe it has something to do with the catch mechanism inside the blaster. You do have a tactical rail right here on the bottom, and you have a sight built in on the top, which is absolutely pointless. But other than that, it looks very much like a sort of like a Beretta or a 1911. And the Elite logo here and the part of the grip that's normally one solid piece of plastic is actually a separate piece of plastic, if that matters to anybody. The real saving grace to this thing is actually the holster. And the holster has storage for 4 extra darts, but that actually is kind of a moot point because it's so tight with the dart fit that you can't easily or quickly remove the darts. Sure, they won't fall out while you're running, but if you can't pull them out quickly and easily, it kind of defeats the purpose of having all that extra dart storage on the side. The good part is that it has a very large belt clip with a very wide lip at the end, which means that it won't slide off of your belt or waistband while you're trying to draw the blaster. And the fit of the blaster is pretty good inside the holster. It's very smoothly coming in and out, which means that again, you have less chance of it pulling off of your belt or waistband when you're actually trying to draw the blaster. The blaster will fit in either direction if you want to have the holster on your left or right side. However, it's clearly designed to be on the right side because it's much smoother to draw it from the right than if you had it on the left, and there's definitely more friction on that side. The great thing about this holster is that it very nicely fits the FireStrike. And that, I believe, is actually a much better application for this holster than the SideStrike itself. And the FireStrike fits very nicely from either direction, so you can mount it on the right or the left side of your hip. Here's a shot of the SideStrike all loaded up with the darts and the holster. And here's a quick firing comparison between the FireStrike and the SideStrike. So the performance was virtually identical. Unfortunately, I can't bring you guys an actual range test at the moment because there's tons of snow on the ground and I'm not sure when it's going to melt, but I will bring you one as soon as I can. However, it's clear from the claim of the 75-foot ranges and the performance from the firing test that these blasters should be pretty much identical in terms of dart performance. My final verdict on the SideStrike: unless you're looking at paying $15 or $18 for a pretty sweet holster for your FireStrike rifle, this blaster is definitely a pass. The problem is that while the SideStrike has a very similar dart performance to the FireStrike and the grip is slightly larger and more comfortable, because you don't have that nice pullback mechanism on the back and there's really nothing to hang on to on the top, this blaster is much more difficult to prime. And if you were to put a heavier spring in it, I would say that it's nearly impossible to prime without putting some kind of bracket on the top to hang on to. So I think that about wraps it up. This has been Scraps from GriffinMods. If you guys like the video, please subscribe, and of course, thank you very much for watching.